I want that person.
It's a real good story.
Yes.
No, I'm glad he lived. But the award.
Good point.
I'm switching my answer now. There we go.
I was going to say you want it because you're so sweet and innocent.
Travis.
There's a semi. Game on!
What's
Hello,
up?
everybody. Happy Tuesday. Yay!
It seems like forever, doesn't it?
It has been forever. Well, we were here a couple weeks. What was it? 2 weeks ago?
Well, as far as Squad Pod,
I
we
think
were
so.
helping you that out with Bougie Sports.
We
but
did our
Yes.
bougie
it's been a
sports. Yes.
while.
Hi,
I would.
Posh.
Hey, Posh, we miss
Hi,
you.
good to see
We
her.
miss you. Come back to Cleveland
Yep.
now. Right
Yep.
now.
Hey, everybody. So welcome to the Squad Pod. Yes, we're back. So before we get started on our exciting nights, we want to remind you to head on over to the YouTube and subscribe at Bougie Sports. You can find us on X at The Real Squad Pod and Bougie Sports on Facebook. So you will see us streaming on all of those, but nothing better than YouTube. Subscribing, you can comment easier and all that good stuff. Our website's still down, but we don't want to talk about that right now.
Yeah.
That's a sore subject right now, but that will be up and running in no time. But you can always see all of our old episodes through YouTube as well. Tonight, we have a great show for you. We have a great guest who we will introduce you to here shortly. But our table talk is full of goodness. We are adding in some hockey, which we've never done before. And our expert, Sherry, is here to help us with that. And we've got NBA playoffs, the guards. We've got the Njoku weekend later on. We're going to talk about, just so many things to cover. So many things. Right?
All the things.
All the things.
Yes.
So before we get moving through all the things,
Hi, Lou.
oh boy, Lou,
Oh boy.
Lou,
Lou,
we're
We're
not having
belching.
one of those.
That's you. That's our shtick.
I would
Lou.
totally win too.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
the champ.
not me.
I'm the champ.
Not me.
We have to have a do-over. We have to get somebody up to go against Lysandra. I'm gonna pick a opponent for her to go against.
Oh my God.
It'll probably be Lou.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me introduce our guest. Our guest today is Jeff Gorman. He is a wrestling announcer. He is an author. We are so excited to have him with us tonight for the first time ever on the Squad Pod.
Welcome.
Hello.
Jeff,
Hello, Jeff.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
So awesome to have you.
it is
All
so
right.
great to have you. We're so excited.
Yeah. So it was nice to meet you
Absolutely.
folks for the first time at the Bark in the Park event,
That
which
was
was actually
great.
on my wife's 22nd anniversary. So that's
Yeah.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
And you know what? It was so great meeting your wife too. I have to tell you. I got to talk to her a little bit sidebar while everyone was talking. And you could just tell when she talks, she is just so proud of everything you've done. Like she couldn't
Absolutely.
wait to tell me all the stuff that you had coming up and what you've done. And, and I was telling her we were going to have you on, and she was just, it's just so great. I just love.
Me too. I don't even need an agent. I've got her. It's fantastic.
Perfect.
You don't. She's a fabulous lady.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
She's your biggest fan, that's for sure.
Yeah. And I'm
That
her
is for sure. I love it.
Yeah.
So tell us, or tell everyone, I guess, how did you start in this world of announcing? It was back in the early 90s, correct?
It was back in the early 90s.
Mhm.
In fact, I just had my 30th anniversary as a wrestling announcer. So it was January of 94.
Oh my
And who
God.
was in the main event of that first show in 1994 but our good friend, Beef Stew Lou Marconi? He was in the main
Who's
event
in
of the first
the
show.
comments
I
as
ever
we
announced.
speak?
I
right
know,
now.
He is. He teamed up with Dangerous Derek Stone against Under
right.
Morgan and Johnny Paradise. It all started there 30 years ago.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
A blink of an eye, right?
Yeah.
Serious.
Oh my gosh. Time
So I
just
basically got on that show. I was trying to get into whatever announcing I could. I went to one of these shows down in Mansfield, Ohio. I gave the promoter an audio tape of me sitting in the crowd announcing a baseball game. And he says, okay, Jeff, I'll give you a chance to be my announcer. And it all went from there.
Wow.
No way.
Isn't
Yeah.
it funny how things just kind of happen?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just gotta do what you love to do, even if it's before anybody pays you for it. I'll be sitting in the crowd at baseball, sitting in the crowd at wrestling, announcing in my little tape recorder, and then just got to get it out there.
That's awesome.
That is so cool.
And it actually works. Can you believe it?
And you're presently announcing too for baseball, aren't you? For the Crushers or the Captains?
I have announced for the Crushers and for the Lake County Captains, but right now I'm announcing basketball for the Burning River Buckets and the ABA that are in Mentor.
Wow.
Nice.
And wrestling. So I'm still doing wrestling as well.
My
awesome.
goodness.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask you, so are you going to have any part in the big weekend here in August as far as SmackDown and SummerSlam? I
am going to be a part of that weekend. I'm going to be announcing on a show for Game Changer Wrestling at Temple Live on Euclid Avenue the night before SummerSlam. Of course, that's the same night as SmackDown.
Right.
But we're also going to be having a show for Game Changer Wrestling, which is basically the #1 independent promotion in the country right now. These guys go all over the country. Like this weekend, they're going to be in Denver, LA, Phoenix. They're going to be going to Japan and Hawaii and stuff. And this is going to be their first time in Cleveland because it's the night before SummerSlam. So they're going to have a big show, and I'm going to be announcing on that show.
That's amazing.
Awesome. So I have a question. So you do all these gigs, and how do you prepare for, right before a show? How do you prepare?
Well, you basically find out who's going to be wrestling on the show, and you basically learn everything that you, like if I'm going to be doing commentary, I need to, know how long these people have been wrestling and what championships they've won, and pretty much all like the highlights of their career. And that's what I had to do when I started with this group. I started for them on Memorial Day weekend down in Columbus. So I had to see a whole bunch of wrestlers that I'd never seen before, but I had to sound like an expert. So I had to learn everything about them so that nobody knew that this was the first time I've seen any of these people in the ring. So and you have to pretty much kind of sound like an expert. But if you're being the ring announcer, it's a little easier. All you got to do is get there a couple hours before the show and talk to everybody and get all their hometowns and weights and nicknames, and then you can just jump in the ring and announce them.
There you go.
That is so cool.
So what do you find is the biggest challenge being an announcer?
Well, the biggest challenge, I think, is finding work. Finding places to announce and sort of moving up the ladder. I mean, fortunately, I had somebody like Lou Marconi who basically helped me get from here in Ohio to a bigger group in Pittsburgh. And I would go to Pittsburgh every 3 weeks or so for 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
For 10 years, going to Pittsburgh all the time to announce there. And after that, I was finally able to get into the #3 group in the country, which was called Ring of Honor. And I got to announce the Ring of Honor. That was kind of pretty big back in the early 2000s. That was my biggest break that I've gotten in wrestling. And a lot of other things, getting into the other sports, kind of came off of being in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
That is the hardest
that is
part,
so
is
cool.
getting your self out there, getting your work out there, and kind of moving up the ladder. That's harder than the actual announcing in the ring, is advancing your career, I guess you'd say.
Right.
So promoting yourself is the hardest part.
Yeah.
Yeah, promoting yourself.
Well, how much of that is improvised and how much of it is actually prepped? Like, do you improvise on some of that stuff?
Are you talking about the announcing or the wrestling?
The announcing.
Well, the announcing is not really improvised at all. Basically, I will announce a wrestling match just like I would announce a baseball game. Like these moves are happening in front of me, and this guy got thrown out of the ring, and this person's coming off the top rope. So that's all. I'm just announcing it as it happens because I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm just announcing it just like, this guy hit a ground ball to third base. So I'm just so it's all completely new to me as I'm saying it to the audience.
Wow, that is incredible.
That is
it's a lot of fun.
It is.
Do you have like a mentor or anybody that you've kind of leaned on through the years while you've been doing this?
I don't really have a mentor or anybody that has really been sort of guiding me or giving me advice. I mean, I pretty much learned how to do it pretty much from watching wrestling in the 80s with like Gorilla Monsoon being the play-by-play guy and Howard Finkel
Super
being
cool.
the greatest ring announcer of all time, just learning through them. And I just learned a lot just from watching them. And when I was able to actually start doing it myself in 94, I kind of had watched it so much that I was able to pretty much do it. And of course I had a lot of practice doing other sports, coming up in college and used to announce on Wadsworth High School's system doing baseball and basketball and stuff. So when I started doing wrestling, I really kind of had a lot under my belt before I kind of got started in that world.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We have some old school pictures that Lana
Really?
provided.
Yeah, we
All
found
right.
some goodies. Let's see.
Do I have hair? Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Oh my gosh, that was
Yes, you
There
did.
it
as
is.
a
So
matter of fact.
great.
You know what? That's the first show. That's the very first show I ever announced back in 1994.
Wow.
I'm
Really?
borrowing my dad's white tux from his choir that he and mom would sing in, and I got to wear that tux for the first time. Dad is literally right behind me, playing the music of the different wrestlers on a boombox.
Oh, that's amazing. That
Yes,
is so
right
there, it's my
cool.
very first show.
That's awesome. Let's see what else we got.
What else do we have?
Huh. Oh, there we go.
Who
There's me and my wife. This is a few days before
Guerrero.
our wedding because her maid of honor is here from Japan. So
Okay.
and we had a show and Eddie Guerrero was there and he wrestled
Wow.
against CM Punk in a really amazing match. And it was just great to get a chance to meet Eddie.
Wow.
He was
That is
really,
I hear
he
he
was
was,
really
he
one
was
of a kind person.
awesome. I hear
Yeah.
he was an awesome guy.
He was.
That's a great picture.
Let's
Yeah,
see
I
who
love that
else-
picture.
That's
We're all so young.
Oh,
22 years ago.
Wow.
And
Mick Foley.
your
I
there's
daughter,
never
our
isn't it?
baby.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't it her?
She
first
was
baby?
1 year old in that picture. That's us with Mick Foley, aka Mankind. We did a big
Yes.
show at the Butler Fair where he was the referee for a match between Jerry the King Lawler and the American Dream Dusty Rhodes.
Wow.
Dusty Rhodes.
That is
I
so
love
cool.
Dusty
yeah.
Rhodes.
That was a
Yeah.
huge show, and that's we actually drove Mick to the show. We picked him up at the
No
airport
way.
Oh my
and drove him to the
gosh.
show.
That's
That's
Yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
He's
was a
great
favorite
guy.
when I was a kid. I was just gonna ask you, is he as nice as everybody says he is?
Yes, he's exactly as nice as everybody says he is.
That's
Totally
awesome.
super nice. And there's me a little more recent with much less hair. That's Underground Wrestling in Akron, run by my
Very
friend
cool.
Bounce. And this was right before the pandemic. We were doing a few shows in downtown Akron at Central Howard High School and Barrett
Oh yeah.
School.
Nice.
Yeah,
Great.
Very professional. There you look like a
Very
seasoned
much.
pro.
thank you. And this is from
This is
a couple days ago.
Yep.
And I
Yep.
don't have to show you my books because there they are. There's well, I've got them right here too to show you, but there's my 4 books that I wrote, and we were also selling some masks, and we also are selling some gnomes. I'll show you those in a second.
Ooh.
Oh, that's
nice.
cool. That's cool.
I
So
think
I
that's-
saw
yeah.
something that you had online. What was your 30-day challenge with your books? So you were selling over.
Yeah, we're trying to drum up some interest in the books. I usually pick that one with Hogan and Andre on it, King of New York, which is a WWF history book, and I was just trying to take pictures with everybody I could find, everybody I could drag into a picture, and did a
Heck yeah.
30-day challenge of posting a picture of that book every day for 30 days.
Oh,
That was
Yeah.
really cool. Yeah, because I saw all
get a
these
little-
different people, and this is so cool. Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm trying to get a little marketing behind it.
heck yeah.
I need to read that book.
Yeah.
Please do.
I do.
And-
I'm gonna have to get that because I
Yeah,
don't-
my Twitter is Jeff D. Gorman, and we can set anybody up with an autographed copy of a book or a gnome. Hey,
Oh,
there's
sweet.
SummerSlam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh,
added the
that's already
graphic.
you going to SummerSlam?
Yep.
I wish I was there. I would
Wow.
totally go. I think I'm gonna be in town like a couple weeks after. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. I will
okay.
be there. I'm ready.
I'm undecided.
No, I'm gonna try to be there because I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm also writing for Fans First Sports Network, which Lou,
Yes.
of course, is all over that.
Yep.
I've been
Yep.
writing about the Guardians and WWE for that, and I'm hoping that I can parlay that into getting media passes to this.
That would
I
be
actually
amazing.
was on media passes to get into SummerSlam '95 in Pittsburgh,
Wow.
and
Wow.
SummerSlam 96 here in Cleveland because I used to write a weekly wrestling column in the Mansfield News Journal. And that's how I got press passes
Wow.
to those 2 SummerSlams 28 years ago.
Wow.
Very
that's
cool.
great. We
Well,
need
So
to
let's
do
hope it
these
happens
for-
again.
It
Yeah.
looks
in
like we have a
2024.
question from one of our viewers here.
Oh.
Really? That's great.
Yeah. How do you feel
Oh.
about the new announcers like Samantha Irvin's rise?
That's a very good question. I think that Samantha Irvin is fantastic.
She's
I mean,
amazing.
she's really, really good. I mean, I know that they kind of teach everybody at the WWE sort of a certain way. They kind of sometimes come out sounding the same, whether they're guys or girls. They kind of tend to have the same delivery. But Samantha Irvin, I mean, she puts just so much heart and so much emotion into her announcing. And when we saw that clip of her announcing Cody Rhodes as the champion and she was on the verge of tears, I mean, that was just beautiful. She's still very young. I have to put her, she's going to be top 10 or top 5 all time by the time she's done. She's aces.
That's awesome.
She is so
I
good.
enjoy her.
Yeah.
Definitely.
She
If
made me
anybody
cry.
else has questions, feel free to throw
Yes.
them in the
Yeah, hey.
chat.
Throw them into the comments and we'll
yeah.
grab them from
Do
you.
you guys
That's what
have
I'm
any
here for.
questions? Because
I'm
I was
trying to be
sitting
an
there
expert.
like asking all the questions and everything. And
Yeah, we can get.
Can I show you the books real quick?
Yeah, oh my gosh, yeah, sure.
Please
Okay.
plug your book.
Yes.
Yes.
We
please.
want to see the
Anybody
cover
wants
art.
Autographed copy of any of these books, just go to my Twitter, Jeff Gorman. We've got this side of the mic, which is my book of all the crazy wrestling announcing stories, all the trouble that Lou and I got into. And it's true. And then we have Wrestling is Real, which is a novel, a
Ooh.
novel that I wrote for teenagers. It's in a world where wrestling is real. That's the hook there. And then we have my series of wrestling history books, starting with King of New York, who was the MVP of the World Wrestling Federation. So I'm writing a
Nice.
series of collectible wrestling history books. And here's the first one. And the second one, which came out last year, was King of Atlanta, who was the MVP of World Championship Wrestling. And there's Ric Flair on the cover.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
kind of a spoiler alert as the
Oh,
winner
yeah.
of that was going to be. And then here
Oh,
I have,
another.
this is what the cover is going to look like of the new one.
Oh wow.
King of Philadelphia.
Oh,
You see
Very
someone
cool.
being put through a flaming table. That's going to be at Extreme Championship Wrestling. Lou was there for a little while, actually.
Very
And that
cool.
book is done. As soon as my cousin Dan has a cover for that, I'm hoping
Oh.
it'll be out by SummerSlam.
That was my question for you.
That
Is
would
who
be so
your
great.
cousin Dan does all the cover art for you?
Yes, he does. He's an
Okay.
amazing comic
Wow.
book artist. He's been
Yeah.
a great artist since he was 8 years old. He never had to bring lunch money to school because he would draw pictures of Garfield and sell them to his friends.
Oh.
and
His
that would pay for his
currency. Excellent. That is
Yeah.
Garfield.
He's really been a
brilliant.
professional artist since he was 8.
That's wonderful.
I need to
Yeah.
get my daughter doing that.
Yeah. I like the consistency of your novel's cover work, you know? Because then it's
Yeah,
like it
that
stands
works out.
out. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, they kind of all go together.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We can keep.
Well, go ahead.
I think before we get into our table talk, I think we should just we're in this combo, and I like I want to keep talking a little bit about the history here. So, Jeff, tell us what your most memorable moment has been.
Well, there's been a lot of memorable moments. I've got to announce a lot of big matches and with a lot of like big stars you can see. But I think the most memorable moment was the first Ring of Honor show in Pittsburgh. That was the first time I ring announced for Ring of Honor. And because these fans had seen me in working hard for 8 years. And then I finally got to a big company in Pittsburgh. And my wife was there, my kid was there. And they all cheered for me before the main event.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
touching.
Just really made it all worthwhile.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I think that'll always probably be the best moment.
That is really great. That is
Yeah.
really great. What about the most disappointing?
Well,
on the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
the disappointing was probably I don't know if you've heard of a wrestling promotion called TNA, which was the number 2 group. I was trying to get in there. I even smuggled a Make Room for Gorman sign into their show in Cleveland and placed it behind the announcers to try to, and I made a whole bunch of videos trying to get in there. And they just
Oh.
never accepted me. So that was very
Dude.
disappointing for them. But
Yeah.
they're still around, but they're not really as high up as they used to be.
Well, that's what they get.
That's right.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Well, I had a couple of questions for you.
go for it.
You've been doing this for so long. Who's the best overall wrestler?
Ooh.
Best overall wrestler. That's a really great question. A lot
That's
of
a
my
rough one.
friends have been putting up those questions like who's your top 10 favorites, who are your top 10 greatest wrestlers of all time. I think that probably one of the best wrestlers of all time would be Bryan Daniels. He's in AEW right now.
Yeah, he is.
He was in Ring of Honor all the way back with me from the very first Ring of Honor show. So he's kind of getting to be in like his early 40s right now, but he's still one of the most amazing wrestlers you'll ever see. Of course, he went to the WWE and he became the WWE champion at WrestleMania 30. And everyone's going, yes, yes, yes. When he was called Daniel Bryan. Now he's in AEW. He's sort of winding down his career.
He
In
is.
fact, the last time I went to AEW in Cleveland, last September, he came out and announced this is going to be my last year in wrestling. So he's
Wow.
kind of winding down his career. He's almost done. So anytime you get a chance to see Bryan Danielson, you want to check him out. He's pretty amazing.
Definitely. What about your best technical wrestler? Would he fall into that, or do you have a
I
different
think
one?
he would probably fall into that category. Of course,
Yeah.
there's a lot of other really
Yeah.
great ones, of course, like Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect and
Mhm.
Kurt Angle. But yeah, I was the real sweet spot for me and the matches that I've been watching lately, the old Saturday night's main events from the 80s. Just a couple of hours ago, I was watching, Jake the Snake Roberts versus Randy Macho Man Savage. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that because that's really where I fell in love with wrestling, was watching those guys and
Hell yeah.
Hogan and Andre and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, and that was just a magical
That
time.
was when I watched it. I was really big into it in the 80s. I stopped watching it in the 90s. And then when I started dating my husband, he got me back into it. So
James.
There you
who's
go.
the best heel?
The best heel, probably one of the best heels of all time, I would have to say, is Roddy Piper from back then. I mean, he was so good at getting everybody to hate him and getting the whole crowd against him and stuff. And he was just like ready to start a riot all by himself.
Yeah, and the bagpipes are like awful sounding instruments, so that just goes along perfectly with that.
If you don't like bagpipes, there you go. You can just hate him.
What about your best tag team?
Wow, that's a good question. There are a lot of good tag teams, a lot of great tag teams, I should say. The Midnight Express were pretty fantastic. Of course, the Road Warriors just demolished everybody. But the one team that I was really impressed with, and I kind of would have liked to see them last a little longer, was, just was watching, it was the British Bulldogs.
Yes.
Davey Boy Smith and Dynamite Kid, they were amazing. They had lots of power, they had lots of flying moves and stuff. And poor Dynamite Kid got hurt after a while. They could have lasted longer. And then, Davey Boy sort of went his own way as a singles guy. But the two of them together were fantastic.
I love the Rockers.
Yeah, the Rockers were a lot of fun. They were like two high flyers, flying all over the place.
Wow.
Those guys are my favorite.
Yeah.
Wow.
But with that said, we of course have questions.
We have one question that came in real quick.
Oh, hold on.
What do you think of the Vice TV show Dark Side of the Ring?
Oh,
Great
good
My
question.
good friend Vince Morber asking that question. I haven't seen it yet, but I do know most of the stories that have been told and all of the because let me put it this way. You don't get into pro wrestling if you're normal.
Yeah.
Not
Right.
just as an announcer, but as a
noticed
wrestler
that.
to
Yeah.
go all over the country and get beaten up and travel from town to town and the it's just not a normal lifestyle. And there's some it really attracts some pretty crazy characters. Just like MMA attracts people who want to fight.
Right.
So people who want to sort of have kind of a crazy nomadic, almost a circus type lifestyle is wrestling. Wrestling.
So default carnies, got it.
That's right. That's right.
So, who do you feel cuts the best promos? That was one of the questions.
That's a great question. There's certain people who, when they pick up the microphone, I just smile because I know it's gonna be great. Ric Flair is really near the top, but I think the best has got to be The Rock. I mean, when The Rock picks up the microphone and before he even starts talking, he's just going to.
He's like,
just lay it down.
Yeah.
You got to understand, right? That's it. You got the pose right there.
Perfectly.
To have the fans in the palms, and and the millions, and millions.
And his voice just carries. I love it.
Yes, You see, he always practiced that. I mean, even he started doing that back when he was playing college football at the University of Miami at the U.
Wow.
They were like legendary smack talkers as a college football team, and he
That's
took that with
amazing.
him into wrestling.
Yep, he did play football. I do know that.
Yes.
We do have a question from Ed in Columbus. Are you a fan of non-traditional tag teams? Two individuals teaming up like the Mega Powers, Hogan, Savage, Rock and Sock.
The Rock and Sock connection, Mick Foley. And yeah, I think I am. It's interesting because it provides like a really good dynamic, and then you have a great explosion, of course, like when Hogan and Savage, the Mega Powers exploded at WrestleMania 5. And even more recently, when you have a situation like MJF and Adam Cole having this really great, amazing tag team based on friendship, and he's never had a friend before, and this is his one friend, and then that friend just stabs him in the back. So I think it's great because it kind of breaks it up from, having teams like, like the Rockers or the Hart Foundation, the Midnight Express. Of course, there's, more modern teams I could be saying, but sort of
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I'm like, yes.
It gives them a break, and let's sort of these super teams come together, and it can kick off some really big singles feuds and stuff. And then you're back ready to see a team like, the Young Bucks or FTR or somebody like be back at the top again.
Sweet.
Great.
So we have all these awesome questions. Sherry is what we would call a clueless fan.
No way.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So she has a few questions that she wants to ask you.
Go for it.
From a clueless wrestling fan.
All right.
These are just very, very simple, basic questions, clearly. So for you,
try not to be too stumped.
What is your favorite? Right. What, in your opinion, is your favorite garb of wrestling? The mankini, the onesie, the short shorts, or the full pants?
That's a good question. I think it might end up being a onesie that you're talking about. I think I'm gonna go with like the singlet.
The singlet.
You have with the two straps.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it had a name.
Type of outfit. Andre had just the one strap.
Yes, he did.
Because the thing is, when you get mad, you can pull the straps down. Like, no, business. Jerry Lawler would do that. We'd pull the strap down, and now he's really ready to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank goodness it stayed up.
One strap, two strap onesie. As you would say.
One strap, two strap. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Also,
that was an important question.
Yeah, thank you.
It was
important. Thank you.
Yeah.
I need to know, what do you think? Greased up or not greased up when it came to a wrestler's appearance and the outcome of the match? Like whether or not they were shiny and slippery or like regular.
Dry. Oily or dry?
Also haven't really given a lot of thought to. But I would probably have to go with greased up, because when you're like all oiled up and glistening and stuff, it really makes you more of a big star. And that even if you beat your opponent in 2 minutes, it looks like you've been sweating it out, and you've had a hard-fought victory. So the cameras and the lights are shining on you. So I would go with the grease.
That's a great answer.
I didn't think I would be an expert on that, but there we go. There's my expert opinion.
Asking all the important questions.
Right.
The hard-hitting questions. This is what
I am a scientist. I am a scientist. I need to know the very basic facts.
What else you got, Sherry?
Down to brass tacks.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so masks, no masks, or hats? What are your opinions?
You know what? I like masks a lot. In fact, that one picture that I had a Mexican wrestling mask shirt, and I'm selling some masks and stuff. I think masks are really, really great. I think that there have been a few American wrestlers like Mr. Wrestling 2 or some people like that who wear masks, but really it's more a Mexican wrestling thing. And I think it's a great idea because it gives you this whole superhero-like persona, whether you're like Mil Mascaras, the man of 1,000 masks, is always has a different mask with the M on it, or you have your very own mask that you always wear, like Rey Mysterio Jr. will have like a cross, or like Marco, who's a big dancing skeleton. He's just wearing a skeleton mask. But those are great, and the thing is, it's such a part of you that actually I got to tell you this story. This one match that I announced was Mike Quackenbush versus Hijo del Santo, the son of El Santo. And the one of the greatest matches I ever saw was in Mexico, and it was a double hair versus double mask match between Eddie Guerrero and Art Barr as the heel Americans putting their hair on the line against Hijo del Santo and Octagon, who put their masks on the line. And El Santo was this legendary guy from Mexico who always wore the silver mask, and he never lost it. And he was so popular that he was a big movie star. He was in all these movies like El Santo versus the Mummy, El Santo
wow. That's incredible.
All these crazy things. He made his son promise on his deathbed to never lose the mask. And that guy in the match, his partner was beaten up. He was taken out of the arena, and he had to beat both Americans to save his mask, and he did it.
Wow. That's amazing. That's a great story.
That's masks are, and that's why I like them so much. Stuff like that.
That is incredible.
That's a good story.
That is really because I just remember the one hat. Honestly, the Undertaker, his hat was pretty iconic.
Yeah,
that is
that's
iconic.
true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And one last question. When it came to footwear, knee-high boots, thigh-high boots, calf boots, or low tops?
Ooh, that could go a lot of different ways too. I know AJ Lee used to wrestle in Chuck Taylor's. That was her.
Right. See, I seen Chuck's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would have to say, pretty much the thigh-high boots. You know, give yourself a lot of support, a lot of cushion to be able to jump off the top rope. You know, your ankle's not going to get rolled. So I would say kind of the basic this high where you can put your initials on there. You can put your RF if you're Ric Flair. You can put Mr. P if you're Mr. Perfect. You know, you got room for your initials. So I'd say pretty much up to your calf.
All right.
What a great question this is.
So yeah. I think your wife wants to know, or your daughter wants to know. What does your wife and daughter
That's my
think
wife.
about this?
That's important. That's super important.
What do my wife and daughter think about wrestling? Well, they are pretty great because they've been to a lot of wrestling shows and MMA shows, and more than their share of baseball games. They've suffered through a lot of cold baseball games while Daddy's announcing, and basketball has been fun for them, especially because it's indoors. But they're not big wrestling fans, but the fact that they've been to so many shows and matches for me and with me shows their undying love and support. And I hope I can always show them just as much love and support as they've shown me. My daughter will watch a little bit of wrestling. You know, her favorite wrestler is Danhausen from AEW. I don't know if you know who that is. He kind of wears a sort of spooky. He sort of does like a late night horror movie TV show host type of gimmick. If you know what that is, he sort of wears spooky outfits.
Yeah.
He's really funny, and my daughter just loves him.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's great.
We have a question.
Oh yeah.
Does Jeff feel the WWE should bring back the cruiserweights and luchador style of wrestling like WCW had?
You know, that's a good question, and I want to say yes, but I would actually say no because they've tried that in the past. They've tried to do a cruiserweight tournament or give them their own TV show called 205 Live, but they always,
I remember
WWE, I think is, and I know Lou would agree with this, that's always going to be considered the land of the giants. I mean, going all the way back to Bruno and Hulk and Andre, and they always love the big heavyweights, John Cena, Batista, Undertaker, like you said, Sherry.
Like even now you have Drew McIntyre and Braun Strowman and these huge guys.
Those are always going to be the people who rule the WWE. And if anyone wants to be a great sort of cruiserweightish type of wrestler, they're probably better off in AEW, where they have a chance to go possibly all the way to the top because they love that kind of athletic, well, look what a great match we're putting on match. No matter how big or small, if you're 200 pounds and you put on a great 20, 30-minute match, then AEW is the place for you. So I would advise them to go there and let WWE be the land of the giants.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super cool.
And Lou said, especially when I was there.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, great. This has been such a great discussion.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah.
can I show these gnomes real quick before I forget?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, please.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
No,
Let's
please.
give you that moment.
There's a limited supply of them. We got an Ohio State gnome
Ooh, cute.
with a little football and an O. There we go. Little football, little O. And we also have a Browns one. Of course, you all love
I
that.
love it.
Browns
Woo!
gnomes.
I
Got
need
a
that.
ball.
I
It's got a little
want.
beer.
Oh,
Oh, I
So-
have that.
that's my type of gnome.
Yeah, if anyone's interested in these, go to my Twitter at Jeff D. Gorman and hit us up.
Awesome. You heard the man.
That.
That's right.
Yes, visit.
Visit,
Buy
You're my
his
target
book.
audience
Buy his
for that.
books.
Yes.
Right. The book. I'm definitely. I need to get that WWF book. That's for sure.
All right. Yeah, that's where to get it. I can
That's
autograph it
for
for you.
sure.
Graph it for you.
Love the rents there since the 90s. Grew up in the 80s, 90s wrestling. Oh yeah, Posh. I didn't realize she was from Mansfield. That's great.
Wow.
You want
That's
to hear
great.
something funny? We went to my wife and I were covering a political event in Mansfield back when John Kasich was running for president, and it was in
Oh,
Mansfield.
wow.
And it was at the rally, this political rally was at this factory called the Gorman Rupp Company. And the guy who owned it, pretty much the biggest employer in town in Mansfield, was this guy named Jeff Gorman. The guy was named Jeff Gorman. So Kasich is up there. Jeff Gorman's going to create jobs. And it's like, where I am? So I'm like, okay, we got to get a picture with this other Jeff Gorman. And
Yeah.
I said, hey, I used to write for the paper, and that's what, and he's like, you're the reason why everybody asked me about wrestling. This guy's like the CEO of the company, and people ask him, so when's the Undertaker gonna come back? And he's like, I don't know, because every week there'd be Jeff Gorman writing about Mansfield, writing about wrestling, and he's like, it's not me, I don't know anything about wrestling. That's pretty funny.
That is
That's
really
hilarious.
funny. That's a
Yeah.
good one. That's a good one. So let's move on over to our table talk, guys.
All
Yeah.
right.
think
So
we're
we're
going
gonna move on to NHL.
Yes, let's give
Oh,
Sherry a moment here to tell us what's going on with the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Stanley Cup, as we know, is going on. Yesterday was a big W for the Panthers.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't care for the Oilers, as you
No.
can all see.
I won't even mention them by name because
Uh-oh,
what's the
team.
point?
Yeah.
Girl.
Mhm.
This year is our year. And for people, just to clarify, because people are very confused. Yes, I'm originally from South Florida.
Mhm.
And the Panthers were founded in 1993, and I was a little kid, and that's my hockey team. So I've known them since, their existence, and they've never, ever won a Stanley Cup ever. So especially being here in Northeast Ohio, underdog capital of the country, come on.
Come on.
So who else would we cheer for? Otherwise, you're pretty much an awful human if you're cheering for that other team. Who cares? They're from Canada, whatever. This year is Florida's year. We're going to take it all the way. I mean, it's been obvious if you've been paying attention
Mhm.
because they've been murdering that other team, which I've been very happy about. So
Right.
wine and roses with that.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
And you have a fun fact for us as well as in regards
We actually have like a
Cup.
fun fact
We have a
segment.
video.
We have,
Yes.
we have a little segment that we put together.
Yep. Well, we're going to start with some of the Stanley Cup facts.
Right.
And, yeah, Sherry's going to take over the facts for today.
Okay, this is really neat because the Stanley Cup was originally developed it was called the Dominion Hockey Challenge Cup in 1892. As you can see, it's quite the antique. So it was very frail. They had to remove it from, they used to pass it around, but because it became so frail, they put it into the vault. And there are two other Stanley Cups that were developed to take its place. Unlike the Lombardi Trophy, there's only one of a kind Stanley Cup. They don't manufacture, mass produce them.
Okay.
And so that was the original that was passed around in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then it started to morph into what we all know today. And
let's see.
yes, this is what we all know and love today, Lord Stanley's Cup. And I'll give you his whole title because everyone's like, who's Lord Stanley? And another fun fact about the Florida Panthers, our mascot is called Stanley C. Panther.
I see what they did there.
Yeah.
I see that.
Very good.
Yep.
Awesome.
So the cup was named for Frederick Lord Stanley of Arthur Preston, Governor of Canada.
Nice.
And Governor General of Canada. And I didn't do a whole, history report on him because that would be pretty boring. So I just did a history report on the cup. And fun facts about it. Obviously, Phil Pritchard. Everybody, does he look familiar to you guys? If you've ever seen anything just briefly with the Stanley Cup?
Oh, I actually have seen the Stanley Cup when the Avalanche won.
Right.
They brought the cup to the mall.
Okay.
And I had a crazy. It was at the mall, and people got in line
That's
to stand
hilarious.
next to it.
Ah.
And one of my friends at the time that I was working with, I wouldn't even call him a friend, but he tried to pick up the cup and run off with it, and they got tackled.
Yeah. That was actually in the article that I sent you. That's in there.
Wow.
That it was like somebody
There's
tried.
probably a lot of people have done that, but
Surprisingly.
the dumbass that I worked with did it, and he got
Oh my
his
gosh, how
ass taken
stupid.
down.
Nice. What a claim to fame. I was
Right?
the guy that
Tried to heist the Stanley Cup in
Right.
the mall,
in the mall of all places.
running by Foot Locker.
Yeah, really. Taking it to
Basically.
Orange Julius to fill it up full of
Fill this up.
pina colada.
That's pretty good.
Oh my god.
Right? That's hilarious.
Yeah, the cup.
Very, very interesting.
Oh, okay. So you guys, there's an Ohio connection here
Okay.
because this is Sergei Bobrovsky, who is the goaltender number 72 for the Florida Panthers. And the fun fact there is you can see he's 35 years old, and at like 262 days he's the oldest goalie in the NHL history
Wow.
to be in the Stanley Cup final, which is absolutely, I thought, so cool. Because when you think like his age, like 35 in sports years is like, like retirement, put him out to pasture. But hockey players, when they're good, they last a really long time, just like Jaromir Jagr. Like everybody's heard of Jagr. Jagr's been pretty much on every team, and he's been in so many different Stanley Cup situations. And that was what I was going to mention is Columbus stupidly got rid of Bobby, and it was good for us because look where we are now. And he's just been like, I can't even come up with the words about how incredible of a goalie he's been.
That's great.
Yeah.
And so we're so lucky.
Very lucky.
So we
So
have
lucky.
one more little tidbit. Sherry provided us with a video. It's a quick, 1 minute video on the history of the Stanley Cup that we're going to play for you guys that we got off of YouTube. If it'll play.
Maybe. We're watching a movie.
This is so much fun.
It's almost like it starts like a movie, too.
It does.
With the Cup. Presented by Discover Card.
The engraving process of the Stanley Cup is probably as good and as traditional as the Stanley Cup itself. It goes to the little silversmith in Montreal. Louise started in 1988 engraving, and her family has been doing it for 4 generations now.
Wow.
It takes about 10 days to engrave,
Yeah.
and because it's silver, it's all hand done. She's
Goosebumps.
armed with a little hammer and stencil, but along the way, obviously, errors happened. On New York Islanders, they're missing the S on Islanders there. And in talking with one of the Russians, he said the English language was crazy because you didn't need an S there anyway. The Edmonton Oilers ironically, the owner tried to put his dad's name on in the 83-84 season, but it got X'd off. That all adds to the journey and what makes the Stanley Cup what it is.
Oh.
But yeah, I don't know about you guys, but that gets me verklempt every time I see it. Every time I see Phil bring it out and they put it on the velvet cup holder on the table.
The cup holder.
The velvet cup holder on the table. And you can see that whole video in its entirety on YouTube. And it's not very long, but it gives you like just fun little juicy tidbits of facts that you're like, oh, that is really cool.
Yeah.
Just like who knew that it was hand carved engraved by one family for 4 generations.
That
that's
was the
amazing.
most amazing fact I picked
It's
up.
just like so, I don't know,
Regal.
traditional.
It is
and, like,
regal,
yes,
very regal.
That's the
Mhm.
word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And Jamie's saying, obviously, we want to give our monsters some love for
Absolutely.
Game 7 tomorrow, which will be down 0-3. So,
Yeah, the
go
Calder
Monsters, go
Cup
Monsters.
tomorrow.
Yeah. All right.
I like how we were just watching YouTube on YouTube. It was like YouTube Inception.
Yes, it was. And if
YouTube.
if somebody was behind us watching it, then there would be another like service that would pop up in an alternate dimension.
Yeah, another layer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on over to our NBA Finals, which,
Yeah.
it's exciting. It's finals. Cavs aren't in it, whatever. But go Mavs.
Yeah. You know what? I don't
I
see the
have to
Mavs winning if they keep
I
playing
know.
the
I'm
way
going to
that
be
they
so
do.
upset.
I believe that the return of Kristaps Porzingis is going to be what takes the Celtics over the edge. He's been playing ridiculous defense.
Oh, my gosh.
And he's just made an impact. Game 1, he was already making an impact. And another impact player for the Celtics right now is Drew Holiday. He's been able to shut down Kyrie Irving. And if Kyrie doesn't get going, the Mavericks aren't going to.
No.
I don't believe that they're going to have a chance if they can't have Luka and Kyrie both contributing and on fire and doing all the things. So,
And that's really been the story of the entire playoffs. I mean, it almost seems like the Celtics are getting the walk because they've had every single opponent have major injuries to their major players.
yes, if they don't win, this is going to be all for nothing because we've had Lillard go down. We've had Giannis go down. We have Embiid that went down. Mitchell had issues in the series.
Absolutely.
So
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler, that goes all the way back to the first round. And now, if the Celtics don't do it, it's going to be all for nothing. It's going to be a big season, a big failure of a season, I would believe. So, yeah.
And we have a great jam sesh.
Yes,
that
I
was fun to
actually
put
put
together.
together a quick jam sesh.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, it's just
super
the
good.
first 2 games, just about
Couple
a
moments.
handful of fun plays from games 1 and 2 that I put together. So let's get started.
Okay, we're going to watch a movie again together. With popcorn.
Yeah. Final
I love that.
session. Oh no.
There it
we
is.
go. I was like, where did my audio go? There's Porzingis.
Ooh, yep.
Jaylen Brown has had some good ones too. He's been playing some really good defense. Another block. He picked his pocket. The Celtics have been really laying on the defense this series.
Nice.
Oh.
No.
Yeah. Porzingis again.
Wow.
The Knicks even got rid of him. And he crossed him.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And then split.
Here we go. It's the best ending ever.
Oh, what a dunk.
Wow. That was outstanding. Very good job.
Isn't that good?
Good
I
job,
know.
those standouts. That was amazing.
And
I
just
know,
a
she's-
reminder that we have
Oh,
our
yeah,
charity
definitely.
golf outing coming up. And feel
Just a
free
little
to
reminder.
donate.
Mhm.
All proceeds are going to go to charity. Fantasy Cares.
Yep.
Yep.
And now, how about a little Guardians, shall we? Talk about the Guardians.
Yeah.
They are on fire this weekend. 2 of 3 against Miami.
Yep.
Guards
have been on fire. I haven't really got to see many of the games, but
I have no
very
love
proud.
for the Marlins.
I know
Ever,
either.
ever since they claimed Miami, I said, forget about it. Forget about
Yep.
it.
What are you gonna say, Jeff?
You wanted them to stick with Florida, right? The Florida Marlins?
Yes. I wanted to be included because I don't live in Miami. So,
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
or like the South Florida Marlins. But
Mhm.
Miami, forget it.
She's
Mhm.
like, forget about it.
Forget
You
it.
know, the good news about the Guardians is they're at the point, we're kind of getting into June where I think it's pretty safe to say they're for real because, a lot
Yeah.
of teams can start out
Absolutely.
hot in April, early May,
Yep.
like
Right.
Pittsburgh did, Detroit did, but then they fell off. But
It's a long
this
season.
team is
It is a
really
very-
doing well.
Yeah, baseball is so different than as we all know all the other sports. I mean, you cannot get hyped up the first 2 weeks. Like the season's
No.
over. There are so many games. The season is so long. Let's also talk about another very surprising topic. I think a lot of people agree with is Stephen Vogt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
All
the
this
guy,
a new manager.
brand new manager
Amazing.
with
Yeah.
the team that on paper you kind of look at them like, okay, where are they gonna killing it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely killing it. So we have 2 very fantastic coaches in
Yes. Uh-huh. And the thing that I
Number
think
one.
most impressive
number 2.
is we lose our ace starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Right out the
And
gate.
look where
Yep.
they are. They're the person who I think has
Justin
been the biggest
Bieber.
crisis.
No.
Ben
Keep calling him
Lively.
Justin Bieber.
Ben Lively comes in and is just putting up the same numbers that Shane Bieber
Right.
would have put up.
Right. It's
So
just
we're
amazing.
right in the game. Just a
We
different
are.
guy.
We are. We have 2 little quick highlights as well from this weekend's.
Yeah.
This weekend we had a couple big moments. One with Tyler, one with Quan.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Baseball
a bit
highlights.
outside. Guardians have taken advantage of that.
In the air, right field side. Sanchez is back at the
Nice.
track and the wall, and there's some
Yeah.
power to right field on the road.
He's like,
Look at his
what
face.
the-
What?
Steven Kwan, a two-run home
He
run.
kind of did the
2 runs.
Yeah. Indignant.
Look at
We have
that.
the
Look
replay
at the
of
slow
it.
mo. Oh, baby.
How he pulls his hands so
bug down.
close to his
slow
Ow.
mo.
My ankle
like the slow-
cringed.
You never expect Quan to hit a home run, but then he'll do it. It's like, whoa.
Freeman liftoff. Deep
This was
left
great.
field.
This was
Way back,
really great.
runs out of room. It's out of here.
Yay, Tyler.
3-run bomb.
Freeman with a 3-run
Yes.
homer.
Yeah.
He liked and said, "Let it ride."
Let it
That just goes to
ride.
show you how important advanced
So
stat
great.
is.
So great.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
look
I
at
wish
that.
I could hit a ball like
Yeah,
that.
me too.
Me too.
Mm.
Pitch like he
I've
Yeah.
already broken like 4 things and torn a couple
Oh,
things
no.
just
Oh,
in
no.
that move. Yeah. So go Guards, keep it up. You know, so impressive this season so far as well.
Yeah.
You know, another reason why I think they're doing so well, not just Ben Lively doing so well in replacing Bieber, but the fact that Tyler Freeman's out there in center field. Of course, he had to be the leadoff hitter for a while when Stephen Kwan was hurt. But it seems like the Guardians made a decision. It's like, look, Tyler Freeman's really basically an infielder. We're just going to throw him out in center field and let him hit. Because in the last 2 years, we had Miles Straw out there, who was a great fielder, but he couldn't do it with the bat. So we made a conscious decision to get some better hitting. And I think that's really paying off.
Absolutely.
Totally agree.
The proof is in the pudding.
That's
It's everywhere.
right.
It's
That's
everywhere.
right. And we want to also share with you all, kind of moving on from our Guardians talk to this previous weekend in Eastlake, Ohio.
Yes.
We had a fantastic event of the David Njoku celebrity softball game.
So much fun.
There were a ton of us out there. I can't even. Posh was out there with us.
Yeah, Posh came in from.
She ended up sitting right behind us. It was so cool.
Yeah, she came in all the way from St. Louis for the game.
Totally amazing.
Wow. You will see me there in about. What is the date today? So about a couple weeks, I'll be out there.
Right.
So can't wait.
We'll drag you everywhere.
Really quick, Posh had some really awesome words for us.
Oh, nice.
Yay.
Oh, the work and thought in your questions brought to some of your guests. I learned so much. Oh, thank you, Posh. Yes, we tried.
Yeah.
We tried.
Glad you enjoyed it.
We do little studying on the side before we
do
put this together.
We actually
for sure.
do a little studying.
We do.
Very professional.
Well, you know me. I
Thank
enjoy
you.
homework. Give me all the homework. I'm fine. Extra credit. I got
Yes. So we have some extra credit.
We sure do.
I gathered some pictures, and I wish that I was there because I would have totally taken a ton of pictures too.
Oh yeah.
But Lana, Yvette, and Sherry sent some awesome pictures and footage, and I put together a slideshow of all the things that happen at the celebrity softball game. But before we start, I wanted to shout out Lana.
Oh
yeah. This is very important.
And
still in it.
Yes,
she's in it to win it, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the contest that never ends. I feel like I didn't realize it was going to go this long. So I keep posting like, I'm so sorry. I know I'm sick of me. I know you're sick of me, but I can see the last 6 people that post or vote depending on when I look. So I don't see everyone. So I apologize, but I know people are voting like crazy, and I appreciate it. When I put out there, I'm slipping, man. People jumped in. I went back up to first place. So thank you. I love you guys so much. I said today I will have the biggest pizza party ever if I win this thing, because I'll have $20,000. That'll buy a lot of pizza and make a lot of chocolate cookies. So much pizza.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Great.
So without further ado, before we let you all go, I just want to thank Jeff.
Yes, thank
for
you.
An
Thank
awesome
you.
episode. You came with
great.
so much knowledge, so many cool takes, and just a little look into the life of a wrestling announcer, which is awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
So cool.
I'm fangirling a little bit just because I love wrestling. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get things started.
It's like the greatest day ever. It was fun.
Yeah.
All the girls.
All the girls. Lady. Spider and First Lady.
We love them.
That's like
Sleazy.
royalty.
Yep.
It's so much fun with him. He is so cool. The big bone.
Gotta love that. Johnny.
Johnny Gargano.
Mr. Cleveland.
And Candace.
And Candice LeRae from WWE.
Miles and Ray. Our first guest.
Hi,
Travis.
Travis.
Kelsey. Oh,
Josh Gordon.
Yvette got to hug him.
Yeah, and there's
Jacoby.
Jacoby Brissett, the nicest quarterback I ever met. It rhymes. There's QB1.
Yep.
QB1.
Oh, that's sweet.
I'm all waving at them like I love
Denzel.
Denzel's adorable.
I love
Mr.
Bernie.
Kosar.
Bernie.
Josh. Zadarius, he was hilarious.
Yeah. Zadarius is hilarious. We got 2 rhymes in.
He's so hilarious.
He's
I
having
love
a
that
good
guy.
time.
Oh, dude, he was dancing the entire
hilarious.
time. It was
He was
amazing.
doing that the whole time.
The whole time, nonstop. I was mesmerized. I'm like,
That's how close we were. That's how close we were. Our seats were right
we
there.
were. Yeah.
We were
Don't throw that shoulder out there, buddy.
Oh, there was a collision.
Right.
There was a collision where it was friendly fire, but QB1 went down. Everyone
Yeah.
screamed.
It was a little scary.
It was scary.
It was scary. I was like, what is he doing out there?
We all screamed. We're all like, no.
That was our family photo that I
Yeah.
still have not seen this family photo yet.
Yeah, me
Yeah, if
neither.
anybody has that picture, please post
Yeah.
it.
Right.
I
There,
don't know.
there was a couple people taking that picture. I've
Mhm.
never seen the picture.
Yeah, me neither.
So. Yep. All right.
Yeah.
Great
you were-
job on the video.
Yeah.
And then
you.
before we sign off, remember, don't forget. Well, don't forget this.
Yeah.
You've got
yes.
till July 15th. Sign up and pay for our August golf outing. Message me for anything that you need. And also, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us. Watch
Yes.
on our X page at The Real Squad Pod and at Bougie Sports on Facebook. Oh, look, there's our photo.
There's our yearbook.
I
Yeah.
made a little
We made a
yearbook.
photo album from the weekend.
Are you both were at the captain's stadium, right?
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
why I'm wearing the shirt.
That's where we were. That's
Oh,
where we
I
were.
figured. I put
Yeah.
the 2 and
I
2
announced that
together.
back in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
great.
awesome.
Nice.
Huh?
That is great.
Well, that was the end. Thanks again so much.
Thank you all.
It was a
Thank
blast.
you so much for having me. It's been a
See
pleasure.
You
You guys are
next
great.
time.
Thank you. Have a great night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
ya.
Bye.